Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for taking time to do this interview.
Yeah, man, I'm stoked.
Oh, awesome. Well, it's great to be able to talk to you. I've been a huge fan of you guys for years now, and it's
Thank
great to
you.
see you
Thank you.
guys coming back in such full force now with this
hmm
new album coming out next month.
Yeah, we're really excited. It took us a bit to just get started on the second album, but yeah, we're really stoked. We've been sitting on it for about a year and a half now, so it's been finished. But getting all the business dealings done on the back end, we're really excited. August 26th, we are excited for Between the Light and Air.
Yeah, and it's so great to see that. And of course, on Silent Pendulum, it's great to see you guys a part of such a great label as well, too. I mean, there's so many great bands on that label, and it's great to see you guys on that.
Yeah, we are really stoked about it. When we were kind of shopping the album around, we had it completely finished with 3 music videos ready. So we gave them kind of a full package when we were sending stuff out to labels. And the label's owned by the drummer of the Number 12 Looks Like You, Michael Cadnar, and another band, So Hideous. And he is in a lot of weird, crazy bands. And so when we saw the bands that were on the label, we were like, wow, this is like crazy metal and old MySpace stuff that we loved. So it really did fit with kind of everything we were looking for. And they just signed Dr. Acula as well. So there's like some like big MySpace energy on the label that I'm really excited about.
I had no idea they were even back. I'm just hearing about this right now. That's so cool.
Yeah, so I think they're coming back out of the hiatus. I think they've been out of the game for a minute, and they're coming back with a new album. So I think pre-orders for that album are on the Silent Pendulum website as well. Just doing some name dropping over here.
Oh, that is so cool. And yeah, and it's so great to see you guys come back. I mean, I discovered you guys with the first album and I just loved everything that was going on. I remember playing you guys on my show and just loving everything that was going on. And yeah, I mean, obviously there's been a lot of time and some things have happened since the last album. I mean, both
Mhm.
with the band but and in the world in general. But it having the chance to be able to check out this new album, I've had it for about a day now, being able to check this out, and I've gotten a
Great.
few spins into it, and it really feels like I can hear the progression of the band going on. I mean, the songs feel even stronger now. You can hear the great variations and song structures that are going on here. The melodies and harmonies just sink through so hard. Like the brutal moments are so brutal, yet you have those great melodic moments that are going on. And of course, everything that you guys do, and you have that great signature sound that you have. I mean, it's great to see you back and stronger than ever.
Thank you so much. It really means a lot. We're every band says like, oh, we're a super unique band, but I think we just do like a lot of things at once. And I think it hits people in just the right way. If people like it, it hits them in just the right way. And um, with the new album, we again wanted just tighter songs. We also thought like the last album, we didn't think so much about playing the songs live as we thought about these songs. So I think for this album, we were definitely thinking about, crowd involvement, how fun it would be to kind of deliver these songs as a group. There's a lot of gang vocals on it in certain spots, where we all get to yell together, and we love doing different stuff. So again, it's always kind of scary because we don't even know what the album really is going to sound like until it's done. And then we come up with an opinion on it, but we haven't had anybody else listen to it. So we don't even know what people are going to think, but we're really proud of it. And it means a lot hearing somebody who likes metal as much as you do being about it. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And of course, what always brought me into you guys from the first listen and now listening to this album as well too is the diversity as well. Like there's no
Mhm.
two songs that sound the same in your entire catalog. I mean, it's just like there's so much that's going on. It just feels like a great roller coaster of music. Such a great ebb and flow with a lot of great peaks and valleys that's going on. Whether you're including the keyboards and the saxophone, whether you're including like 8-bit, 16-bit sounds on the keyboards, whether you're doing more straight up metal. I mean, there's just so
Mhm.
much going on, and loving all the different variations of what you can do. And it doesn't sound forced at all. It just sounds exactly like the music that you want to make. And when it has that authenticity behind it, it really shines through and it makes me appreciate it that much more.
Thank you, man. Yeah, all of us like, it's funny, I talk about this with my friends sometimes, but like not, all of us like metal, right? Everyone in the band likes metal, but we all like so completely different kinds of things. So, when we come together, there's just so many influences that come into making the music. And so we'll want to make this type of song or that type of song, but because we all have the same kind of like tech prog writing tendencies, it all, no matter what we try to do, I'm really proud that it all comes out kind of sounding like us. Which is something I was scared about with writing with this new album. Was it's still crazy, but is it the same kind of crazy that we were doing? And I think it's same but different, right? We've grown up. It's 6 years since the last album came out, so I think the things we like in music are a little bit different, and so I think that drove a lot of the evolution of the sound. But we didn't want to touch any of the genres we had already touched, really. So kind of the funk, Disco Brain was fun and the funk, but we didn't want to just do Disco Brain 2, you know what I mean? So we wanted to kind of switch it up and have new takes on our same kind of, let's take whatever genre or take whatever ideas we're playing with and just kind of flip them on their head.
Oh yeah, and I mean that's what I appreciated so much about when I finally got the promo for this album is I did not know what to expect. And that's what got me so excited because I know what you guys are capable of. And I also know that just like you talked about, like 6 years in between, there's going to be some differences that's going to be happening in there no matter what happens. So it just got me so excited to see what was going to be happening here. And the fact that, it's just like you are embracing all the different changes that are going on. You want to do something different. And, whether you're doing something more chaotic, something more emotional, whether you're doing something more fun. I mean, it's just like all these different sides are combined and it's very cohesive. Even despite all the chaos that's going on, it's very cohesive when you listen to it from start to finish.
Thank you. I think the album order was also very important. The album is sort of about more or less the effects people have on other people, and in turn how the effects you have on yourself, right? So that's kind of thematically what a lot of the lyrics are about. And so when it came to putting the songs in order, we put them in an order that made sense emotionally, right? So we thought about what the songs were about and kind of how they would fit in a real person's life, and then we kind of put them out in that order, and then it just sort of made sense. So I think when I'm thinking about progressive music and just prog metal in general, I'm thinking about like theater and thematics, right? And so that was something we had in mind when kind of deciding the order and how it was gonna flow to the end. And it's quick, it's I think 36 minutes and 7 songs, so it's almost the exact same length as Learning to Breathe was.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up, and just like seeing how everything comes together thematically. And I love that idea of like how we treat other people and in turn treats ourselves. And just listening back to again, Trash Island makes so much more sense now the more I listen to it and the current state of the world that we live in right now. Like Trash Island makes so much more sense.
Yeah. And so that we are garbage eating garbage, like it's you are what you eat, and also you are what you create, so there's a lot of different levels. I obviously I wrote the lyrics, so I think there's a lot of different levels, but there's a lot of different ways the lyrics can be looked at. And it's a lot of things that like help me get, like it's been a tough couple years, right? So I think a lot of the album is about like believing in what you believe in and standing firm for yourself, right? Being your own advocate, and kind of when you do that, you need to pull it from somewhere, right? You need to like find that energy someplace to keep yourself going. And so that's sort of what Between the Light and Air is. That was sort of the idea.
And I love that so much. And when I go back and spin this again, I'm going to be able to have that much more appreciation for it, and knowing all of this and just being able to pay attention to lyrics more and more, and just like knowing the concepts and thematics behind that. So I'm just going to be able to appreciate that more. And
that's
it is the world that we live in right now. I mean,
yeah.
it's just like we live in some dark times, like how we treat people and how we treat ourselves and the world around us. So it's just like what you take in is what you give out and vice versa.
Yeah, and also what you like, not just what you take in, but what you choose to accept, right? There's so little in this world that is just steadfast true all the time, you know? So I think it's really important to decide, you know, there's a lot of decisions that need to be made, like I guess every day when you're kind of just living your life, on how to operate based on what is true. And that's a bigger question as it is. I'm not going to get into that, but you know, that's definitely what we were thinking about when writing lyrics. And you know, again, it's what it some of these themes and stuff is what helps me get through like my regular life. So I just am happy to, you know, share it. And death metal is one of those things where, you know, you don't need to listen to the lyrics, you know, you can just appreciate the song for what it is, but it is an additional layer that can be there for someone who's looking for more understanding, or, you know, what was the purpose of the song in the first place.
Oh, absolutely. And it goes back to what I keep talking about with like what I appreciate so much about what's going on musically, especially in a band like yours, is because there is so many layers behind it. I mean, just like, I mean, obviously, if you just stuck to like the standard death metal instrumentation, there would already be so many layers, but you add so much more instrumentation on top of that. Then you add such great lyrics on top of that as well, too. And there's so much more you can digest. And no matter what you're looking for, you know, whether you're just paying attention to the drums, you're just paying attention to the keyboards, you're just paying attention to the thematics. I mean, there's so much that you can look and try to understand, and the more you listen to it, the more you can appreciate it all.
And you know, I am going to give a big shout out to our member Patrick Corona. He's our saxophone, keyboard, and back vocalist. So he is our Swiss Army knife, you know. So he really enables a lot of these things we do, because we have these ideas and we see a lot of bands that like have great ideas and it's all on a backing track, and that's fine, you know. There's some bands that works, but you know, these key lines and some of these harmonies, you know, there's some like sax guitar harmonies on the album, weird different things we're doing. And it's just so impactful to have him playing it and being whatever we need him to be for each song. It just really helps.
Oh, totally. And, you know, it's just amazing when I think about that too, because there's been a rise in saxophone and metal over the last few years. And I always appreciated the fact that you guys wouldn't rely on backing tracks for that. Like it would be real saxophone when you see you guys live. And there's a huge difference when you hear the real instrumentation over hearing a backing track in a live setting.
And yeah, we're stoked on that, because, you know, the last album had what, 2 songs on it that had sax, and I think there's 2 or 3 on the new album that have sax. So it's not something we rely on all the time. Like obviously we're a death metal band with a saxophone player, but it's not we try to not be a gimmick band, you know what I mean? We're always trying to not be a one-trick pony. And we are always trying to do stuff differently. So having him there is just so helpful. And now the hard part is one of the newer songs, the Spectres, which is the next single, it's going to be coming out sometime soon. It's originally was called Spaghetti Western. That was the code name when we were writing it. And he plays a soprano sax. So he has 2 saxophones now that we need to bring with us when we play live. So he has to switch between saxophones mid-set. So when we're thinking about set lists, we have to think, all right, what instrument is Patty holding right now? What's the next song? Is he going to have time to like switch his keytar over to a sax? Or so we try to put like the sax songs kind of back to back, so he doesn't have to shuffle so much when things are going on.
Oh yeah, and I gotta mention how much time that's gotta save too. I mean, especially if you're opening for a band or you got a nice main support slot or a headlining show, whatever the case is. I mean, you want to be able to play as many songs as you can, and when you got to constantly switch instrumentation in between songs, and you don't have that set list order, and you just try to wing it, that can eat up a lot of time.
Yeah. And so the band sort of relies on me for like the stupid banter in between songs. You know what I mean? So I get to entertain the crowd, and I enjoy doing that. It's, you know, it's part of the fun is, you know, my joke is like, I get to be a dick and no one can say anything to me for like 30 minutes. You know what I mean? I can just do whatever I want and no one can say anything. Well, they could leave, but they can't say anything to me when I'm up there. So it's fun, and I kind of am, you know, giving dirty looks at the guys trying to like, hey, can you hurry up? We only have like 15 more seconds until we got to start this next song.
Oh, that's great. And the thinking about that as well too. I mean, obviously, you're talking about with the Spectres being released as the next single. I
Mhm.
mean, what was it like to be able to show off like the first single from this album? I mean, how hard of a decision was it to be able to show off what was going to be the first taste people got to hear from this album?
So it wasn't that hard actually, because we didn't want to give out one of the wacky songs as the first one. Because yes, we make wacky songs and our live show is wacky, but we do take our music pretty seriously, and I think that's kind of a difference between us and some other kind of like crazy bands. Because there's a lot of like funny bands out there and they have funny songs. And, you know, we're trying to make really good songs and then let our personalities kind of come through when we play them, if that makes sense. So with this first song, Seizure of Character, the single, this is a song that was originally gonna be on Learning to Breathe, but we just didn't have it finished in time. So we ended up saving it and then we rewrote it a ton of times. So it's not anywhere near the same song that it was when we originally scrapped it in 2016. And pretty much all that's left from that version is the piano intro. So that like minute piano intro is really what we rebuilt the song out of. So that was kind of easy because we wanted like a, hey, we're back, you know what I mean? And also to show off the album art. I work with artists to design the album art, and I think the album art is such a huge part of what we do because it kind of gets people in this, fantastical headspace where anything is possible. That's kind of my thought process of it. So, it kind of gets people in that place to kind of have an open mind and be prepared for whatever we're gonna end up doing. So Seizure of Character as a first single was easy. But then the other songs, it was really the ones we thought were going to have the most fun making videos for. And when we were making these music videos for Spectres and then the next single, which I'm not going to disclose at this time, we did the two videos in one weekend. And so I directed them. I got all the guys together and got all the costumes together and directed the videos. I'd never done that before. And so it was really cool because I'm the vocalist and I do sort of the artistic direction, but it was really fun to, be the boss and kind of make a storyline and make some fun with the guys. And so my name's Ian and I go by Jan a lot of the time. And so during quarantine, when I was directing these, everyone was calling me Yanni Quarantino. So that was kind of my like makeshift director name that people were making fun of me because I was on a little bit of a power trip when we were making those music videos.
Now the real question is the upcoming videos, are they also shot out of sequence? And when you watch it, do you have to try to figure it out what's going on?
So are you referring to the like images in the Seizure of Character video?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the album. So the first image that's in it was that shot with the man by the fire was originally going to be the album cover, but we voted on all the images we had because we made images for each song, and everyone liked the mountain. It was straightforward. It had everything in it, and the guys actually didn't want an octopus on the front cover again. So that star octopus in the sky was the reason that wasn't the first image. So the images sort of tell a story, but it's more open-ended, as again its purpose is to get you in the headspace of what's happening and not so much tell a direct story, if that makes sense. But no, these next ones are not going to be done out of sequence. They are live action too, so it's the guys, it's all of us actually filming the video. We wanted the first one to be a lyric video to really just show off the album art because we love the album art and we're really happy about it.
And I love the album artwork as well too. I mean, I'm looking at part of it behind you as well, and then when I look at the album artwork as a whole, I mean, I just love everything that's going on. And just like we've been talking about, like when I look at the different colors, I look at the mountain, I think it's a great representation of the band because there are so many different colors musically that's going on within the band. I
Mhm.
mean, you see the darker colors, you see the brighter colors, you see how they mix together, and you
Mhm.
look at that mountain like that too, because you can see like the struggle going up to the top. You can see how heavy it looks on the bottom. I mean, there's so many
Mhm.
different ways you can look at it just from the album cover alone. I think it's a great representation of you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So we made images for each song on the album, and we cut it down to our favorite four. And those were made, they were kind of constructed by me. And then we went to the artist, Daniel Bogni. He's from Brazil, and he helped us create the art. But I did sort of these mock-ups. I took a ton of images and put them in Microsoft Paint. And I sort of like created ghetto versions of the album covers that I wanted. And then I sent them to the artist and let him know what colors and stuff I wanted him to use. So all the art was very directed on kind of exactly how we wanted it. And yeah, we're really happy with how they turned out. So at some point I want to put up the images on, social media and show what the original ideas were so they can see kind of how far they came when the artist got a hold of them.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see that. And just like talking about that as well too, just like when you talked about like Spectres, for example, it's just like a in uh or just like any of the songs that are on here, it's just like seeing how they start off. Like sometimes it might just be a piano intro, sometimes it could be a keyboard intro, sometimes it's the full song kicking in.
Mhm.
And just like when you have that original idea, and then when you listen to the final product on the album, and just seeing how much the song originally changed,
Mhm.
and just like what you add in, what you take away, what instrumentation is going to be in it, what kind of variables do you want to throw into the songs. I mean, when
Mhm.
you're a musician, especially ones where you're not afraid to be able to show off so many different styles, and take yourself so seriously while being able to have fun, which is such a fine art to be able to do that right. And I think you guys do that so well, like you talked about before, where it's just like there are some bands that are just wacky, and they can have the fun show, and you guys have a fun show, but you take the music so seriously, and you can hear that inside of the music. But just seeing how the songs can change, and then you get into the final forms of the songs, and then you get it recorded. I mean, it's got to be really cool for you guys to be able to have a song that's been around for years and years, and being able to shape shift it enough into something that's not even recognizable to when it first started.
Yeah, and when these are all shared guitar profiles, right? So it's all of us working together on Guitar Pros and coming up with ideas. And I don't really do Guitar Pro. I'm not too about it, but I'll like sing ideas or like hum things to the guys to help them. There's like one or two breakdowns on the album that I like was like, it would be cool if the breakdown went like this. So that was my contribution. But the songs sound like video games. So when we first make them, they sound like video games. We really didn't know how any of it was going to turn out until they were all done. And when it came to mastering, this is when we came to the sixth version of the album. So there was five others that we were like, this doesn't hit it just quite right. And then we kind of got the balance. And it's bright, and it's not, we wanted the mix, we wanted everything to be heard. We wanted every layer to be something that you could hear and pay attention to. So that's always the hardest part, getting all six of us happy with everything and how it's layered.
Oh yeah, I gotta imagine that. And then also when you take into the mixing and the mastering and everything else
Mhm.
that can happen too, because obviously, as a musician, when you have everything like worked out the way that you think you do when it's first recorded, then the mixing and the mastering comes in, and everything else can be changed.
Yeah, yeah, and that was rough too. So we recorded at the Fang Studios in San Mateo with Nick Loicano, and he's done all of our recordings since Puke Feast in like 2011. So we go way back with him, and he did all the recording, mixing, and mastering was all through him. And he's just been our go-to guy for a really long time. And he adds and he gives us suggestions, but he really waits to hear us talk about what we want it to sound like first. He never put in advice before he understood what we were going for. And that's what I really like about Nick is he's a smart guy, and sometimes being smart is knowing to wait until you should speak. You know what I mean? And he's really good at kind of taking in all the info and really adding when it helps. And so yeah, we're really happy with how the album turned out.
Yeah, and I think that's such a lost art for a lot of people too. I mean, when you don't have to be like the focal point of the conversation. You could just listen to everyone around you, be able to gather what everyone else is thinking, and then be able to add your own 2 cents or agree with someone, or disagree with someone, whatever the case is. Because obviously, when you're in that role, you want to make sure that the clients that you're working for are happy with what they're going to be getting. And you also want to be able to add your own expertise to it at the same time. So being able to find that right combination together is so important, and it really shines through on this record, because I mean, you get to hear everyone shine through, especially on the moments where all of you shine, and then he
Yeah.
adds his own little spin to it, which I can hear with the mixing and mastering, which is so important, and it comes together so perfectly.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we're just so excited. Again, it's been such a long process. And again, we got everything done before we were trying to get signed again. We knew we wanted help getting the album out, and we needed someone who kind of understood what we were about. And so finding Silent Pendulum was awesome, but we also wanted to make sure we had everything just right before we gave it to somebody. We didn't want anyone to get like a half-baked version of the album and think it was something that it's not. So we were so happy that when we sent it out to Silent Pendulum and Michael Cadnar, that he was stoked on it and he really got it. And again, we all grew up on MySpace, so it's got big MySpace energy. We keep joking that this album is very it's like all of our nostalgia put together for like everything we've ever loved to listen to. It's like a little bit of everything we like. So yeah, we're stoked on it.
Oh yeah, like the first time I listened to this, and it was getting to about the halfway point of the album the first time. I started remembering being in high school and like checking and just thinking of like social media at the time, and thinking of MySpace and all the bands that I would check out at the time, and just how important that music player was on the corner when people were putting out their favorite bands, ones I haven't heard of before. So I'd go and click on it and check out those bands. Like
Yeah, that was
I can
huge.
totally
Bring
hear
that
those
back.
vibes.
Bring that
Yeah.
back. Yeah, those were the good days. And most of the band is friends from high school. So the band started as a high school band, and then the band changed names when we got out of high school to Cyborg Octopus. And it's all high school. It was mostly high school guys. So three of the members right now, we all went to the same high school in the same grade. So we go way back. And I think that's also part of like the energy we have on stage. We're like the friends that we're always kicking each other in the balls. You know what I mean? Like we all are just fucking around, and it's just cool to have the guys, all part of it. So yeah, we all sort of share a lot of that nostalgia for sure.
Oh yeah, and just hearing that again, it's just like I find that to be so important. I mean, being able to find the right group of musicians that you can get along with outside the practice space, in the practice space, in the recording studio, in the van, on stage, near the merch table. It's
Yeah.
just like there's so many things that go into it that a lot of people don't realize until they get thrown to the wolves and they have to experience these things for the first time, and you start to realize if that's even the right direction you want to be going in. And obviously there's a lot of changes that can come from that, but
hmm
the fact that you guys have stayed that strong, and you can still be friends with all of this, you have that pack together, you can work together musically, you understand each other, you
Yeah.
can tolerate each other when you're playing
Yeah,
shows and
that's a
coming up
huge
with
part of it.
music, which
That's a huge
I,
part of
I
it.
know from experience. It's just like sometimes that can just like tear a band apart, but
Yeah, sometimes
it's
it
just like,
feels like work, right? It feels like work. And so when, I'm the only founding member of the band. I was at the last day of recording of the original EP, and I recorded 1 or 2 lines on the very last song of the first EP we ever did. And so over time I became the full vocalist, and members have come and gone, but we still have a lot of former members and former friends coming out to all of our shows. You know what I mean? And when we were first starting, and there was not a lot of people at the shows, I would always joke with the guys like, hey, even if we don't play to anybody, this is a good practice, and I get to share a beer with my friends after this. So that's really kind of the framework that we put it in, is that this is all a bonus. We're very lucky to do what we do, and again, it's our hobby and our passion, and we love it. So yeah, I'm very thankful to do it with some of my best friends.
oh, totally. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that the fact that not only are you guys being able to promote this new album coming out next month, but you're also re-releasing on vinyl the debut album as well too,
Yeah,
which it was
yeah.
so great to see that 1-2 combo of uh, announcements coming out about the album and about the re-release. That's so cool.
Yeah, we waited 6 years to like make announcements, and it was so hard not posting anything on social media, like not too much. We posted a little teaser video of us in the studio, but nothing too crazy was going on social media because we didn't have a whole lot to report. And so when Silent reached out to us, we were so stoked because we've had so many requests for that album on vinyl over the years. That it's just awesome. And we joke, how many times can we re-release Learning to Breathe? Because we released it originally unsigned, and then we got picked up and we re-released it with a label, and then now we're doing it on vinyl. So it's just funny that, and it's funny but also amazing that people are still happy and want to buy this music, even though it's been out. And again, we don't like, our Spotify numbers are really good for us not being very active. And so we're just really stoked that people are like really listening to the music, and people keep on coming back to it. We're just, it blows our minds because we make it for fun. And I joke, but like, I really don't give a shit if anybody likes it or not. Like, it's for us, you know what I mean? It's like our thing. So the fact that people enjoy it and get it at all is just a blessing. We're really happy about it.
Oh yeah, and this is totally the band where it's like you really do hear that you are enjoying the music that you're making. It's the music that you want to make. And it's just like, especially when the band first started, I mean, obviously there was bands that were doing things left of center when you first started, but
Oh yeah.
it's just like, what kind of fan base would you even like try to market this for if this wasn't the style of music that you wanted to play in the first place?
Hmm.
Like,
And
it's
that's
got to be something that you appreciate first, and then the fan base will follow.
exactly. And that's something that we've learned as well, is like, especially when we play shows where we can tell people are a little kind of like taken back by what we're doing, we just believe in it more. Like, if people aren't on board with it, we just go harder because we really believe in what we're doing. And not to say we're like the first band ever to be wacky, and like, that's not it. We're not saying like, oh, we're originating anything, but like, what we do is very us. And I think that in itself is what makes us unique, right? Because we're all coming together to make this music. Um, so yeah, when we have shows and people start and they're all like, crossing arms and not so enthused with what's going on, that's when we go our hardest. We're trying to show them what we're all about. And then hopefully, I think, when I'm on stage and I'm looking, if I see people smiling in the crowd, I know we're doing a good job. You know what I mean? Because it's about the party and it's about the fun, and being at a show should be fun. And so that's what we're trying to bring.
Yeah, and I was just thinking when you said that too, it's like that's one of the most rewarding feelings is when you're on stage, you're playing to a group of people who's never heard of you before, they have no idea what to expect. What the hell is there a saxophone or two being on stage? What am I getting myself into?
Yeah.
And then by the end of the set, they go to the merch table and they'll just say how much they loved you. They never heard of you before. They want to be able to buy a t-shirt. They want to buy an album. And you just made a new fan from just how good of a set that you played.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing too, is we with the because we do outfits and stuff, and we like dressing up just whatever we feel like, but there was a we like wearing tights, like the band likes tights. Uh Bobby, our guitar player, is super into Van Halen. He loves glam metal. So like, there's a lot of glam metal energy that we feel that the band tries to push. Maybe not me exactly, but like, there's members of the band that really want that sexy energy coming forward. And so it's really fun. We used to start shows dressed in all black. The jeans, the just all black, and look like any other metal band. And we'd play Baptism of Clay first. We'd play our like heaviest song first. And then the next song is Data Minefield. And during the funky parts, we'd take off all our clothes and have like colorful tights under it. So it was like we were having fun, but we were also like fucking with the expectations of the crowd. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh
it's
yeah.
fun. So we're making entertainment out of it for ourselves as much as we're entertaining the crowd is kind of the goal.
Oh yeah, and you know that's a couple things that you don't get from a Van Halen show, for example, is like being able to switch outfits like that, gravity blasts. I mean, you're not getting that in a
Yeah.
Van Halen show.
Yeah, like I said, everything that we've ever liked, we tried to put all into one album. And again, I think we're pretty happy with it. And I think the only thing we missed is we have one really cool like saxophone driven breakdown that we wanted to do as the intro song on the album, and we just didn't have time to get it done. So at some point in the future, you might hear a cool like minute and a half intro song from us, but not right now.
Well, it's something to look forward to with the next release, whatever you
Hell
guys
yeah.
decide to do, you know, whenever that happens. I mean, that's a little sneak peek on what
It
could
won't
happen.
will not take 6 years this time, I promise. Whenever this one's out, we're gonna get started working quick. We're really excited. And again, with the new album, there's momentum and we're all happy and on the same page, trying to get out there and play as many shows as possible. So hopefully we can get to anybody who is listening to this. We want to come play to you very soon.
Oh, fantastic. And, you know, I think with that, I think that's an amazing note to end on. And I thank you so much for taking the time to be able to talk to me about everything that's going on in the world of Cyborg Octopus. And of course, Between the Light and Air, which is coming out next month through Silent Pendulum Records. Of course, the vinyl re-release of Learning to Breathe also coming out. The fact that that's getting a full-on vinyl release with all the amazing album artwork and everything, it's just so cool. And when I look at the album artworks in between there, I mean, there's a reason to go for both vinyl versions because the color spectrums are so different and they just look so gorgeous together. And of course, all the live shows I imagine is going to be happening with this, the more that's going to be happening with the album promotion in the live setting, everything that's going on there. There's so much to look forward to. And I really love what you guys have done with this album. It's great to see this progression with the band. I can't wait to see what's next, even though this hasn't even released yet. I'm just so excited for where you guys are at right now. I can't wait to see what's going to be happening in the future. But with that, it was just so great to be able to talk to you about everything that's going on with Cyborg Octopus.
Yeah, Josh, thank you, man. We got a couple shows here in California in August, early August, but we're trying to set up a little bit of a longer tour in October. So keep an eye out for that.